Social Security increases, expansion, getting rid of double taxation. There is a lot currently coming out right now as we are seeing a new presidency, Donald Trump ushering into the new presidency, and there's a lot happening with Social Security. So I'm going to get you caught up on the latest that is coming out. Now, I shared with you just a couple of days ago that a few weeks we had heard that the Social Security Fairness Act had passed in the House of Representatives, and we are hearing that time is running out for that piece of legislation. Take a look. Time is running out for the Senate to now pass the Social Security Fairness Act. Passed in the House, now must pass in the Senate. And what we are hearing is that if it does not pass by the end of the year, that this could be the expiration for this bill at this time with this current Congress. Now, in addition to that, though, however, we are hearing that some people are saying that would not necessarily be a bad thing. Take a look at this. We had heard from Representative John Larson, who had said this is a step in the right direction to have the Social Security Fairness Act. However, have we forgotten that there are millions of seniors that are counting on this program to provide them funding? This is not an entitlement program. This is something that is an earned benefit that they've paid into their entire lives. And now that people are receiving it, they need it to be there to help them sustain. And it is not keeping up with the cost of living at this current time. And he has been saying, have we not forgotten about the promises that have been made to the American people? President Joe Biden, he had promised $200 per month increases to Social Security across the board. That has not come to fruition. That promise is an unfulfilled promise by the Biden administration. But they are saying, could this be a promise that could now be fulfilled with a Trump presidency, as we are hearing that there is unexpected shifts in Social Security for 2025 that are going to be coming with a Trump presidency. Trump is introducing changes that will be affecting retirees. Now, one of those changes that we have heard, the primary one is that Donald Trump, they are saying he is going to be changing the taxation on Social Security. No more double taxation for beneficiaries receiving these checks. They're saying you've paid into it your entire life. You've been taxed on your income. Why is it you're being taxed on it again as you're pulling out? Sometimes 50, sometimes 85% are the brackets that people are hitting. And he is saying no more. Get rid of the tax brackets altogether. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But they're saying what other pieces of legislation could come through Congress that Donald Trump would support to help out our seniors at this time. Now, one of the people that we are seeing is actually getting on board and saying they are willing to work with Donald Trump on some of this is Senator Bernie Sanders. He is detailing areas where he is willing to work with Donald Trump, and he has been getting a lot of backlash from Congress for saying he disagrees with Democrats, feels like they have lost the focus of what it is the American people are currently going through. And he's saying, Donald Trump, I agree with him. He is resonating with the American people. He's saying stop taxes on Social Security, on tips, on various items that will help the average everyday American person. And he is also saying, I am willing to work with Donald Trump on various things here. And he gives a list detailing the areas where he is on board with Donald Trump. Now, why is this interesting? Well, it's because we're about to see the expiration of the Fairness Act come, and we might see this bill fall apart. Well, could there be an introduction of a bill that once came from Bernie Sanders that has been introduced over and over, time and time again, and that is the Social Security Expansion Act. He has proposed this multiple times. This would give an extra $2,400 in checks to those receiving Social Security across the board. The Social Security Expansion Act as well would add this $200 per month increase on top of the cost of living adjustment. So this is separate from the already increase you will be receiving in 2025, that 2.5% increase. If I remember correctly, I think it's roughly a $50 increase. Bernie Sanders is saying, in addition to that, why don't you slap on an extra $200 per month as well? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But I've been seeing this starting to circulate around social media right now as they are saying that the timeline, it is running out on the Fairness Act. They need to pass it and pass it soon. Otherwise, this is not going to get through Congress. But some people are saying, let it expire. because they'd rather see other pieces of legislation for Social Security pass through that have been proposed in the past. So I'm going to get you caught up on the latest as to what is going on. I've got video footage and articles linked in the description so that way you can see it for yourself and get you caught up on everything. And I see you, Son Brock, saying, I just noticed Steve Ram looks like Zelensky. Yeah, I've been hearing that a lot. Actually, I was hanging out with my son on the sofa today, and my wife snapped a picture of me, and then she said, this looks like our son Liam is sitting with the president of Ukraine. Yeah, I guess it's the new hair. It's coming in. It's making me look like Zelensky. But yes, thank you for that. I'll take that as a compliment, I guess. But yes, let me get you caught up on the latest with Social Security. And if you appreciate that, if you collect SSI, SSDI, retirement, any form of these fixed income benefits from the Social Security Administration, stick around. I'm going to share with you some news. This is going to be clips coming out from Bernie Sanders as we're going to be entering into a Trump presidency. And if you appreciate that, do me a favor, take a quick second, hit that like button, spreads this out further so more people can get the latest information. Also, to stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not hit that subscribe button? I'll keep you up to speed on everything so you know exactly what is taking place. We have been waiting for something to come through on Social Security for years now. Promises unfulfilled from the Biden administration saying that there would be expansion, there would be increases, there would be all of these changes, yet we have not seen anything come to fruition. And now we are hearing Trump is going to be coming in, and there is potentially new changes that can be coming here. Now, we will see, and like I said, I will keep you up to date every step of the way. Now, in addition to that, I believe I've shared this with several people here on the channel already, but if you haven't seen yet, I have recently joined ShareRight. Healthcare done the right way, you can save 30 to 50% on healthcare costs today, regardless of if you collect Social Security or not. You can sign up. This helps you to cut costs on your medical benefit or medical expenses. It has helped me a ton. And if you are a believer, a patriot, it is a ShareRight program. It'll help you go to wherever you want. And like I said, just yesterday, actually, we had to go to the urgent care for my wife. She wasn't feeling well. Went in, and it was so much more affordable. Now, they weren't familiar with ShareRight at first. We just told them, call the number on the back of the card, and they accepted it. And they said that you can go to any doctor, any facility you want. And it just takes a minute to just enter in your information, see if it might work out for you, if it would be beneficial. And they'll call you, get you more information. So just check it out if you are interested, wanted to offer that to my community. So far, I've been very impressed with ShareRight. And also, they work with those that are on Medicare as well. So if you're somebody collecting that, you might want to check them out. But let's go ahead and get right to the latest information so that way you can see it for yourself. And first up, we're going to be taking a look at some video footage here of Bernie Sanders as he is pushing for Social Security and changes to unfold. And then I'm going to share with you a clip that just came out 2 weeks ago where he was on CNN and he was vocalizing, I don't care if the Democrats are upset with me. I agree with Donald Trump. He is resonating with the American people, and he is addressing the issues that American people are concerned about at this time. So Bernie Sanders flipping the script, getting backlash from the Democrats. Let's go ahead and take a look at this clip so you can see it for yourself.
In America today, some 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. You got half of elderly people living on $30,000 a year or less. What do we have to do? You have to expand Social Security benefits by lifting the cap on taxable income. Widely popular. Strong majority Republicans, Democrats support it. We can raise benefits for Social Security beneficiaries by $2,400 a year. Medicare expansion all over the country. Elderly people can't afford dental, hearing, vision. You expand that, we can get great support, and it's good policy. We have got to raise the minimum wage to a living wage. I would say $17 an hour. It's not acceptable. So many of our people working for $12, $14 an hour. I think what we have also got to do is recognize that we have massive income and wealth inequality. And yes, billionaires are going to have to start paying their fair share.
There you have it. And now take a look at this coming out from CNN. And he just lets it rip. He says that he feels like Donald Trump is resonating with the American people. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Take a look.
While the Democratic Party grapples with their repudiation at the ballot box, independent Senator Bernie Sanders issued a particularly blistering statement this week, accusing Democrats of abandoning the working class. And Senator Bernie Sanders is here with me now. Hello, Senator. Congratulations on your reelection. Nice to have you here. I want to start with the scathing response that you gave after the Democrats lost, Kamala Harris lost pretty big. You said the Democrats abandoned the working class. The chairman of the DNC called it straight up BS and said Joe Biden is the most pro-worker president of my lifetime. Former Speaker Nancy Pelosi said she disagreed with you. She added, quote, Bernie Sanders has not won. Do you stand by what you said?
Oh, absolutely. Look, Joe Biden is a friend of mine. I've been proud to work with him on an agenda which has been very strongly in favor of the working class. Biden promised to be the most progressive president since FDR. In many ways, on domestic issues, I think he kept his word. But here is the reality. The working class of this country is angry, and they have a reason to be angry. We are living in an economy today, Donna, where the people on top are doing phenomenally well, while 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. 25% of elderly people are trying to get by on $15,000 a year or less. We have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth, and parents all over this country worry that their kids may have a lower standard of living than they do. That is the economic reality. And what Donald Trump did is provided an explanation. He went around, he said, I know you're angry, and the reason is that zillions of illegal immigrants are coming over, and they're eating your cats and dogs and everything else. That's the reason. Well, obviously, that is not the reason. The reason is, in my view, that we have an unprecedented level of corporate greed today, more income and wealth inequality, and people on top want it all. And we need an agenda that says to the working class, we're going to take on these powerful special interests and create an economy and a government that works for you. And by the way, that can't happen unless you get big money out of politics. We got to get rid of the Citizens United Supreme Court decision so billionaires do not continue to buy elections.
And I know that you heard President Biden and Vice President Harris tout over and over the record of supporting workers, helping the middle class, some of the things that you were instrumental in helping pass, like lowering the cost of insulin. You saw the president walking a picket line. They forgave student loan debt as much as they could. You said yourself in July that he had a strong record, which you just repeated here. So it sounds like it's not maybe as much about policies and more about messaging and communication.
It's not messaging, Donna. It's a fundamental understanding of saying, look, the Biden administration has done a lot of good things, period. We should all be proud of that. But it has to be put in the broad context of the reality of the American economy today. And that is when you have three people on top owning more wealth than the bottom half of American society, when you have millions and millions of people working for starvation wages, you got to speak to that reality. So you could say, look, we're proud of what we have accomplished, but we have so much more to do to create the kind of government and nations that work for all of us and not just the few. That's my critique. It's not that the Biden administration did not do a lot of good things, but it has to be put into an overall context where in the last 50 years, if you can believe it, real weak inflation accounted for weekly wages are lower today than they were 50 years. A massive transfer of wealth from the bottom 90% to the top 1%. That's not Joe Biden's fault. It's not Trump's fault. That's what's gone on for 50 years. Recognize it. Deal with it. Tell the working class that you understand what is going on in their lives. You're going to fight for them.
The a top aide, former aide to John Fetterman and Harry Reid, Adam Jenelson, told the Washington Post that Democrats are preoccupied with the narrow interests of college-educated elite activists more than everyday working people. Do you agree with that?
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying here, is that the vast 60% of our people live in paycheck to paycheck. How do we not talk and fight for raising the minimum wage to a living wage. Dana, on Tuesday in the election, in the state of Missouri, a conservative state, they became one of the many states that voted, I think, 58% to raise the minimum wage. Now, how is it that in Congress and the Senate, we haven't even brought a damn minimum wage bill onto the floor? We are the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to all people as a human right. The Affordable Care Act is a stopgap measure. It is not addressing the real health care crisis in America. Why aren't we saying, yes, health care is a human right? We're going to take on the insurance companies and the drug companies. We're going to pass the PRO Act to make it easier for workers to join unions. We're going to expand Social Security by lifting it up. We're going to demand that the billionaires start paying their fair share of taxes. You know, Dana, all of these issues that I'm talking about, these are not Bernie Sanders ideas. These are, without exception, popular ideas that Democrats, Republicans, and independents support. Now, the people who don't support it is the billionaire class, and they got a lot of power. But we've got to be prepared to take them on.
But what the voters supported is a man who would never do any of what you just said. I mean, not even close.
Right. But what that man named Donald Trump did do is he said, I feel your pain. I know that you're hurting, and I have an explanation. Well, his explanation was bogus. You know, millions of people coming across the borders illegal. We have to strengthen the borders. That goes without saying, but that is not the cause of the problem. The cause of the problem right now is to have a small number of people on top who have enormous economic and political power. How, for example, can the Democrats not say, look, we got to get rid of the Citizens United? In this campaign, in the Republican Party, Democratic Party, billionaires exerted their power. Most Americans know that's wrong. So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so we've talked about the economic issues, which, of course, that's number one. Then there's the social and cultural divide that seems to be happening between a lot of people in America who used to support the Democrats and what is now the Democratic Party, or what's perceived to be the Democratic Party. White voters largely propelled Trump to victory in the race, but there was a major shift. The exit polls showed that Latino voters, especially Latino men, shifted more towards Donald Trump. Biden won them by 23 points in 2020. This year, Trump won them by 12. I want you to listen to what a Latino voter told my colleague Ed Lavandera this week.
No. Don't have a meltdown over influence and marketing. Popular Pay's got everything.
We believe in, teaching our kids about God, our Christian values, family values. And the Democratic Party is embracing all the woke, left-leaning ideas that it doesn't go with our values.
Do you think it's the Democrats pushing Latinos to Trump, or is it Trump bringing in Latinos?
I think more Democrats are pushing Latinos to Trump.
What do you think of that?
Well, what I think is that Trump has done a good job in claiming that Democrats do nothing more than the woke agenda. In my view, what Democrats have got to focus on, and tell that gentleman, do you want a minimum wage that's a living wage? Do you think health care is a human right? Do you think we should build the affordable housing that we need? Do you think we should take care of our seniors by expanding Social Security? So I think the emphasis has got to be, of course, on wiping out all forms of bigotry. And the Democrats should be proud of standing up for women's rights and abortion rights and gay rights and civil rights. But the emphasis got to be is to make it clear that we are prepared to stand with the vast majority of the people, many of whom are falling further and further behind, while the people on top do phenomenally well. That's a message that, in my view, will resonate with the Latino community and the entire working class community.
Let me give one example, perhaps, of this kind of dynamic that we're hearing about. Joe Rogan, very popular podcaster, he endorsed Donald Trump in the final days of the election. 4 years ago, you went on his podcast. You got a lot of blowback for doing that and for touting that he endorsed you. So is this the kind of example of Democrats perhaps shunning or vilifying people who don't totally agree with them?
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Look, you can have an argument with Rogan, agree with him, disagree with him, but what's the problem going on in those shows? It's hard for me to understand that. So I think we've got to get, and clearly you have an alternative media out there, a lot of podcasts that have millions and millions of viewers. Get on the show. Disagree with you here. I agree with you there. I don't see a problem in doing that. And you're right. I got vilified by some of the Democratic establishment because I went on Rogan's show. Now a lot of other people are doing just that.
Before I let you go, you were a steadfast supporter of Joe Biden. You were saying that he should not drop out. There's a lot of Monday morning quarterbacking going on, and a lot of it is that, in fact, he should have dropped out earlier or perhaps never run for a second term.
I don't want to get involved in that. You know, we got to look forward and not in the back. Kamala did her very best. She came in, she won the debate with Trump. She worked her as hard as she possibly could. Let's look to the future and not go backwards.
Senator Bernie Sanders.
There you have it, you guys. Bernie Sanders saying, let's look to the future. And we are hearing that he is doing just that. And he is agreeing with Donald Trump on a lot of his takes. And we are going to be waiting to see if he's going to be proposing any of his pieces of legislation for Social Security. As I mentioned to you, we are hearing that there are big changes that are going to be on the way that are being proposed. And I shared with you just a little while ago, we had heard that there is time running out for the Fairness Act to be passed in the Senate. So Social Security, this is a piece of legislation finally that made its way to the House for a vote, got passed. Now we're waiting it in the Senate. Time is running out. They're saying you've got to do something on this soon. If you do not, it's going to expire. Now, Representative John Larson saying this is not a bad thing because the Fairness Act is good. It's a step in the right direction, but he said it is not enough. We need to increase the benefits, expand them, and help out people, just like the promises we had seen from Joe Biden for $200 per month increases across the board. That's $2,400. And we are hearing that this promise by Joe Biden, it is done. Did not happen. It is expired. But maybe we will see something change here with Donald Trump coming into office, as we're seeing headlines coming out saying unexpected shifts to Social Security for 2025. Trump is going to be introducing changes affecting retirees, and we're hearing that those changes, those are going to be getting rid of the double taxation on Social Security benefits. And as I mentioned, I played for you Bernie Sanders because he is saying that he is willing to work with Donald Trump. He's on board with a lot of the things that Trump is saying, and he's disagreeing with the Democrats, saying Trump is resonating with the average everyday American, saying that they need help and changes. And they are saying, well, one of the pieces of legislation on Social Security that Bernie Sanders has introduced time and time again is that Social Security Expansion Act, the proposal for an additional $2,400 a year or $200 per month to help out those collecting Social Security across the board. And again, that is on top of that cost of living adjustment that you will receive, that annual increase to keep up with the pace of inflation that a lot of people are saying it's just falling short as it is. And in addition to that, as I mentioned, if you have not yet done so, you might want to check out the link in the description for more affordable health care to help you out, whether you're collecting Social Security or not. I'm using this one now, and I personally have enjoyed it a ton. There's a link. It takes just 1 minute to fill out the information and see. It's totally free to see if they can help you out. So check that out. If you're a believer, if you're a patriot, if you don't support abortion or transgender operations and don't want to pay for them, you can switch over to ShareRight because they're not paying for it and they're helping out with more affordable health care for you, whether you're a senior or not. So a lot of changes coming here. I'm going to keep you up to date every step of the way. We're going to be seeing what happens with the Fairness Act, if that is taken up in the Senate. And if not, some people are saying that's good news because we might see the Expansion Act or some other pieces of legislation that will help out even more so for people collecting Social Security across the board. So if you collect retirement, SSI, SSDI, any of these fixed income benefits from the Social Security Administration, you're going to want to stay tuned to the channel. I'm going to keep you up to date every step of the way, as we're hearing that Trump is also saying his first 100 days in office, they're going to be explosive. There's going to be a lot of legislation and executive orders coming through. I'm going to keep you up to date every step of the way. So if you appreciate it, do me a favor. I see Peg Elliott saying, hit that like button to spread this out further. Yes, please do so. I appreciate the support a ton. Subscribe to stay up to date. It's totally free. Why not? These articles going to be linked in the description below so you can check them out for yourself. And also, as I mentioned, resources, and also ShareWrite linked down below for you as well. So that is the latest, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I will keep you up to speed on everything coming out. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and I will catch you in the next update. So thank you so much for joining me. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.